Good morning, Eric. Good
Good,
morning.
good morning. Good morning. Thank
Yes,
you for having me here.
yes, and we'll have an interesting discussion, and this is a discussion that is also on my mind, no, and I guess in a lot of foodies' mind also on restaurant design of the future post pandemic. What are the things that we can do with the restaurant, and how can we make sure na safe to dine in, and yeah, I guess for people watching in the recorded video, in the replay, or in the live stream, please join us in the discussion. No, you might have suggestions and builds on how we build the restaurant of the future. All right, thank you. And we're here talking to and thank you for All right, Eric, maybe can you share with us muna how did this restaurant of the future design came about? Yeah.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Anton, for having me here. Thank you for allowing us to share what we've done in your platform. And I just want to reiterate, ganda ng transformation mo. But kidding aside, so myself and CY Design, Michael Chan and Denise Chan, who we've been working with as far as all our projects are concerned. With a couple of our restaurant projects, we've been working with them. Michael is also a godfather to my kids, also one of my best friends. So it was easy for us to start the discussion. The question was, what if everything that we see now when it comes to restaurant design, we're still using our existing restaurant designs, and we added on features, safety features that are pretty much afterthought. And why I say afterthought is because no one really expected this pandemic. So we challenged ourselves, myself and Michael Chan and the CY Design Group. Sabi namin, what if? What if I wanted to put up a restaurant today in this pandemic, at this moment? How would it look like, and how will it be knowing that alam na natin what are happening and what precautions we need to do? How can we do that? But we didn't stop there also. We also wanted to make sure na the principles of dining out are maintained. We didn't go out to eat in the restaurant to eat alone. Right? If it was that easy, sige, gawin na lang natin, tig-isa na lang sila para safe. Or we didn't I've attended a discussion wherein sabi, why don't we make our restaurants outdoors? Right? I was like, if that could be done, then gawin na lang natin lahat outdoor. So what we had to challenge ourselves is we had to make sure that the design was realistic and actually doable, and not like haka-haka or parang it's too futuristic that it cannot be done. The design that we've done can be done today.
Yeah. So, as you walk us through the design, we'll share the design. Siguro the main question nga is, in a lot of people's mind would be, yun nga, the outdoor versus indoor. There was one mall that they were saying they're making everything outdoors na, no? But I agree with your point. Parang you want that intimate indoor experience in a restaurant. How can you make that possible, diba? So that's one. And second, during this post-pandemic times, ang transmission kasi person to person eh. So yun lang, how do you avoid this new restaurant design? Okay?
So with us, what we, again, as during the beginning of this quarantine, what we did was really decided as a group that we will focus a lot on safety. So that has been our drive since the beginning. Sabi namin na the only way I think we can get people to step back into the restaurant is to gain consumer confidence. So what we've been doing was adding features into our restaurant. We've added UV technologies, but with the UV technologies currently available in the market in the Philippines, it's very limiting. So we've explored outside of our country to see what other technologies or updates there are as far as UV is concerned. But yun nga, sabi namin, parang we wanted something realistic. I just don't know how they could convert malls into outdoor. I know we have some malls and naka-set up na siya for outdoor, which is good. But yun nga, we wanted something na kayang gawin through a renovation. I know it's hard now to tell restaurateurs, renovate, pasok ng pera. Diba? When you know that, baka pasok ng pera, when the main advice is to keep your cash, right? But that's where we come in. Sabi namin, diba? We're really focused on making sure that we gain back the consumer confidence. So pasok kami, invest. We're actually investing about with current setup namin, we're investing about 120 to 200,000 per store just on the additional features. We're talking about it's all small materials that just accumulate. So parang the UV protector, that's only 1,000 pesos. The printing materials, that's only, let's say, magkano lang pa-print. But if you look at it on the volume, yung floor markings and everything, mapapamahal din. So what we realize now is like, okay, paano natin gagawin yung design moving forward with all this in mind?
Okay, sige. Maybe you can walk us through the design first. I actually have a lot of questions. And then we'll go back to foodie operations also. But let's go to the design first kasi that's interesting.
So we worked with CY on this design. We wanted to question ourselves. So when you look at our current design, again, this is very much realistic. We also based this on an existing floor plan of one of our restaurants. Para just in case, if we decide to build this, it would be a quick renovate.
Again, so how big is this? How big is this?
This is currently at 128 square meters.
Okay, all right.
But, what we had to also study was to make it optimized para we can maximize the seating. So during the time that we presented this design, may naging updates na. So what we wanted to do now was we created pods. So again, we wanted to have the communal feel pa rin. As mentioned, the principles of dining out, you want to be with friends, you want to be able to communicate with each other. So we created pods. It was recommended that to keep your network smaller now, diba? Parang choose your safe friends. Diba? Parang two-step score. So that's where the idea came about. So you'll see on the left, you'll have individual pods, and on the right, you'll have group pods.
So ano to yung question lang, the individual pods, ito yung parang sa mga ramen shop in Japan na
parang gano'n, yes. And as you see now, before, yung kitchen natin, nilalagay natin it's either sa pinakaharap or pinakalikod. Now it's in the center.
It's in the center. Okay.
Now it's in the center. Like you can see the Ichiran style nakikita niyo sa Japan, di ba? The kitchen is in the center and then advanced sila eh. COVID-proof na sila, no? Simula ko lang.
Pero yung group pods, so what's the ideal size? 4 people? Ganon.
So this one, we have something that's more on like 4, 6, and to 10. So what we've updated since we've done this design is now collapsible barriers between the individual pods para expandable. Right? One of my bosses previously pointed that out and sabi ko, nga, no? And then the kitchen becomes in the center. Your servers now are eliminated in that sense because you are now passing the food directly to the consumers through those windows of access. So we try to limit the contact points.
Parang chef's table na siya.
Yeah, so everything is parang chef's table. Again, this is from learning like ito. So this is one sample of what we decided to do as far as the individual pods and group pods. And that each of the pods actually is equipped already with all the safety measures that is supposed to be in place. So the acrylic dividers. And again, the acrylic dividers, if you were a meeting of 4 and yung dalawa kasama mo talaga, yung dalawa hindi naman talaga. So you can put that acrylic divider in front of you. If you were a family of 6, you can also not have that acrylic divider and feel more free. So we left the flexibility of how safe they want to feel. Kasi sometimes yung na-feel namin is, yung sa in-implement namin yung mga safety measures ngayon, maraming nagkukumokontra.
Oo.
Kasi kailangan to, kasama ko naman matulog asawa ko. So those are the things we had to consider putting into this design na parang, how can we allow the flexibility na, mag-asawa sila, natutulog dyan, pag hihiwalayin mo pagdating sa restaurant. It just doesn't feel right. So that's why we implemented here na parang once you come in, the concept is that once you leave your pod, the pod becomes sanitized, ready to be used for the next customer.
Okay. Pero paano yung hindi, sige, well, let's walk this through, baka nasa baba, no? So, sige, can you just walk us through?
Yeah, so and again, what we also did was one way. So ngayon, isang pasok, isang labas, ihahatid ka sa, you will be brought to your pod.
Ikot lang, parang oval, may oval.
Yes, exactly. And then, before, di ba, parang we always hide the bathrooms, we always hide the sinks. Now, we have it right in front. Pagkapasok mo pa lang, you're disinfected, you're doing your alcohol thing before you even walk to your pods. What we've implemented also here, and I think we wanted to be clear, is that this new technology called far UVC. It's not just specifically UVC, it's far UVC. It's a new technology now that actually uses a specific wavelength. It's called 222 nanometer, which is now safe for human exposure, meaning no cellular skin damage when exposed to this type of UV.
Okay. So safe na UV na to. Safe na UV.
Yeah. So if you're like yung ginagamit namin UV ngayon, granted it has its negative side effects. So what we did was we enclosed all our UVs, making sure our UVs are automatic, remote control, para ma-counteract yung negative aspects niyon. With far UVC, it's a new technology that doesn't create ozone, it doesn't break down the skin. So it's safe to be exposed to it.
Okay.
And the good thing, I just want to share also, when we shared this design, an Israeli company approached us and gave preview to us a new technology that's developed in Israel. It's called UVCOP, which is another style naman of this type of far UVC that uses a specific spectrum that's also okay to be exposed to humans. It's now being used in COVID wards and also ICU COVID patients within their rooms. So this is
mas sterilize ka pag dumaan ka doon?
Yes. And the sterilization only affects the bacteria and it doesn't break the skin. So that's the new technologies that are being updated. These are to be implemented in airports as well.
Oh, okay. And then you have the conveyor belts para sa Japan. Ganun ba yan?
Yes. So again, this is an added feature. I just want to make it clear that this proposal is to be shared to everyone and then kind of like build up on it. We don't think that this is the perfect design, but this is the design that we feel with our knowledge. With other people's knowledge, what we wanted to do is talagang build up on this. Ano bang pwedeng gawin? Conveyor would be very expensive. But it's something that we wanted to jog your mind na parang, uy, pwede nga yan. But you have to consider lang, mawawala na yung mga waiters mo. All you have to do is leave the food there, iikot. Or if you have dirty dishes, just put it there and it will bust out on its own. Tapos yung dishwasher nandun lang sa likod. So the movement is minimal.
Is minimal. Okay. Galing ah. And then this one, ito yung itsura when you enter.
That's just like a view of how it's gonna look like. So you'll be walking to the alley on the left to be brought to your pods. And then from your pod, you go in there. We have now, which are pre-existing already in our operations, we have contactless and cashless options.
Okay. And then this is the elevation.
This is for our singular pods. And then,
yeah. So parang boost nga talaga siya.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. And then we wanted to make it all glass or acrylic para hindi claustrophobic. Even if you look at the wooden slats, it's mostly slatted design para hindi kulob.
Okay.
You don't feel na parang naka-enclose ka. So that's what we wanted to be. We wanted to make it feel light, but you feel secure.
Oo. So ang main question ko dito, paano yung this is the last no. So how do you handle the ventilation? Kasi air conditioning, ventilation, how do you
so for here we suggested, the technologies again with UV filtration of the air conditioning. So that's readily available now. In fact, we're using some pilot stores that uses them now. Ina-attach siya sa air conditioning unit, or you have to buy an existing na meron ng HEPA filters, which is the same thing that they use for airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like where the direction is coming from. Again, to be outdoors best. But I think about 80% of my restaurants are within malls. Madaling sabihin na parang sige gawin nating outdoor lahat, but that's not realistic enough for me.
Pero in this design, nasan yung aircon?
The aircons are individual. The individual ducted. Yan yung suggestion namin for individual ducted para it's safe and it goes through a filter. So individually. And what we want also is that when we do contact tracing, it's also always based on that pod lang.
Wow, galing ah. Now, ang question lang nito, let's talk about the restaurant, no? Kasi nga, like, what happened in the hospitals, they charge all the safety fee, no? If you go to dentist now, doble with the safety, mas mahal pa nga yung safety fee. Ganun din sa hospital. Sa restaurants, you guys are not charging a safety fee. Now, the question is, will you charge in the future, or can you sustain this high investment?
Again, what we've already seen with our current status right now, ang hirap eh. Like, what we've been pushing was really additional investments to the restaurant. And it's hard coming from a restaurateur that sees na parang, oh, hindi naman pala pumapasok yung benta. It doesn't justify the investment. But what we feel is that we cannot charge it to the consumer. What we're trying to do again is navigate and restructure even the menu, our operations. Again, the investment of these technologies into the restaurant will be circumvented with, let's say, mawawalan ka ng konting waiters, right? Because you don't need waiters anymore. The manpower will reduce. So that's where I think the long-term savings will come in. But again, hopefully, ako lang kasi I feel na it didn't take a pandemic to really have us realize that we needed to be more safe. We needed to be more hygienic, especially here in the Philippines. I don't think na parang pagka na may vaccine na, biglang everyone will revert back to before na parang, sige, we don't have to be extra careful. I think this particular pandemic has traumatized us moving forward na parang, what if? So we wanted to make sure na parang ito, we wanted to be safe, we wanted to be hygienic. So moving forward, talagang we will move to be hygienic. And I think that is a good direction moving forward.
Yeah, and so we're back in GCQ, no? What did we learn from the last GCQ, going to lockdown? Ano ba yung mga learnings that we can implement, aside from doing this restaurant design in the future? Do you think that we can learn from the foodie group?
Yeah, like for us, I think, at the beginning, during the beginning of the lockdown, my March interviews, my voice was a little bit different, or what I was saying was a little bit different from 150 plus days now, right? At the beginning, we had hope. We were pushing. We were kind of like already trending upwards, so to speak. We were optimizing, but we were already at the point where, sige na, there were traction already. Come 2 weeks ago, MECQ, we went back to zero, meaning reset again. Whatever traction you had has to restart again, but you can't stop. So we had to adapt again. We slowly, but ngayon is a little bit more different. We're a little bit more conservative now. Kung before we were gung-ho, sige, bukas, let's do it. Now we're a little bit more conservative. We're a little bit more smarter, right? You'll see left and right, large restaurant groups, fast food groups are closing left and right. And I think if you don't close, you're dumb. Because there's no reason for you to just stay open if you're bleeding. Unless heavy pockets ka, sige lang. But the smart thing to do is that if it's eating up into your profits, close it.
Pero you run a food hall. Hindi ba food hall should be more resilient for this type of operation?
So we have the food district, but the problem is we don't have dine-in.
Okay. So, all takeouts for now, no? Nag-freeze si Eric. So, we're talking to Eric D about the restaurant design of the future. Eric handles the foodie group, restaurant group. Let's wait for him to dial back in. So this was the restaurant design of the future proposal. Now, of course, the idea for this talk is to share this with everyone and encourage a discussion. If you have some questions or suggestions on how we can make the restaurant safe, please, join our discussion. Put it in the comment section. We're waiting for Eric to join us back in, and we'll talk to him more about the foodie group. So now we're back into MECQ here in Manila, and And let's get an update from Eric. Yon. All right.
We're back.
Okay.
Okay. I
Now,
think the food hall question. So our beginning pivot was really about delivery and digitalization. I think that's also one thing that this pandemic has done was to accelerate really yung digitalization. Everyone going online, everyone kind of like looking at your phones and whatnot. So that was quick, but reality is that adapting to it is slower than expected. People still want to do the old school way, right?
okay.
Order
What
from
do
the
you mean?
menu, especially outside of Metro Manila. Order pa rin yan from the menu, cash. Kung credit card, very rare there. So we're still seeing 80% is cash transactions. So we have some learnings. I mean, here in Metro Manila or BGC Makati, you'll see digitalization very quick, right? As far as our food hall is concerned, we created a platform, cross-ordering, online, but it's too slow, too slow. Dining is something that really needs to be done. I think this online thing is a supplement to the regular business, but we can't survive just on it.
Okay. Wouldn't you be, what's the impact of all this cloud kitchen, all this home-based, all this fooding, making at home to the restaurant group? Like,
That's a new category altogether. The homemakers, which is producing excellent stuff. Like I've been trying a lot of these. So grabe.
ang
Diba?
sarap.
Parang,
Oo nga. Actually, ang sarap. Sarap.
ang sasarap. And that's now the new competition of food. Right? The new competition of restaurants. Now we're no longer like, pwede nilang orderin and comes to my home. Especially now, bakit pa ako lalabas? When I can order everything online and come to me. But then again, we're talking about the ABC crowd, but you're looking at the others that are still out there that are working, which is the majority still of the population. But even them, gusto nila something quick. So that's what we're realizing, like especially for our brand like Mesa. What we realize is that people want something to grab and go now. Location play is a crucial part also with how good your restaurant will perform now is because ngayon people are more intentional when they go to a mall. When I say intentional, may pupuntahan lang sila. Pupunta akong supermarket, pupunta akong bangko or whatever essential thing that I wanted to do, I will do that. And anything that's on the way in and on the way out will benefit from that. So yung mga nakikita na close to the supermarkets, that's doing very well. Right? So yun ang nakikita namin, the habit of people is also changing.
But
right?
do you think the restaurants in the mall or restaurants outside the mall will survive? Which ones would survive?
Outside the mall is very hard because depending on who you're renting from, baka hindi niyan kaya magbigay ng rental break. And I think that's the difference being now. So we have some stores that are outside of the malls na parang we would have to individually negotiate with them as far as rental breaks, walang standard na sinusundan. So that might be not in your favor when it comes to that. The malls provide that type of service wherein ngayon we're on a bare minimum rental, which the malls have been supporting us. So that's something that we feel. And because I've been saying this, our malls have been built to be utility usage, meaning essentials are really happening in the mall, not like other countries where you find supermarkets outside, you find everything outside, standalones. Here in the Philippines, everything is really happening within the mall. Sasakay ka sa mall, magbabayad ka sa mall, papagupit, anything essential is in the mall. So that's beneficial to now the brands that are within that area.
Yeah. Medyo mahirap nga pag outside the mall, no? That's what we're seeing.
Kasi rental mo, paano mo kakausapin yun, di ba?
Oo. Pero what's your experience with celebration? Because one of the things that the restaurant really provide is the celebration experiences, di ba? Or meeting with friends on a mastermind basis. Do you think this will happen this birth season?
I hope. I can only hope, right? What we've seen is like sabi mo nga, occasional driven is that we've created occasional packages for meals, right? For any occasion. Like just as an input, our Mother's Day, is that Mother's Day ba? Mother's Day 2020 this year was during quarantine, and one of our stores, Mesa specifically, had the highest sales ever for a single store on Mother's Day ever.
Wow.
So, if you say na parang nawala yung benta, yes, nawala yung benta. But you'll see some lights like this na parang wow. Because parang they wanted to celebrate, and if you're ready for that, it also helped that we had our own delivery. Kasi during those times na may occasion, and if you rely on the third party, mahirapan ka. Because you're at their mercy.
Do you have your own delivery ba? The foodie group?
So we opted to have our own delivery, but not for all stores, for stores that can sustain it. So what we did now is talagang attach ourselves to every single thing and analyze which one works better for us, which one works for a specific brand, and which one doesn't. Ang dami na ngayon. So I think that will benefit us in the long run. I think the competition among logistic providers are going to be increasing. The commission rates hopefully should start going down as well. And people are going to be more competitive when it comes to that delivery service.
Did you pursue your idea nga of doing this cloud kitchen nga for foodie group? Parang totally new concept, but just delivering via Food Panda. I know you were toying with that idea, but I'm not sure if you pursued it.
So again, we were in the process of doing that pre-COVID, like literally about to move in. So now we're optimizing again on how we want to approach it. We've got strategic partners. Can't announce yet, but yes, definitely something's in the works, and very soon.
Okay. Now let's talk about the staff, if you can. Kasi I know during the lockdown, a lot of the restaurant establishments groups really wanted to save a lot of employees, as much as possible. But because of the lockdown, there are a lot of restaurant groups had to either furlough or retrench. What was the strategy for foodie in this case?
At the beginning, it was retain as much people as we can. We've advanced loans. We've given out, before they even gave out the government allowances, kami namigay na kami. But the numbers can't do it. So we've slowly, I think now we're down to 3,000 from 4,000. That's just naturally from people not being able to come back to the restaurants just because they're in the provinces. Some of our store closures as far as franchises are concerned. So these are indirectly have already been foregone. So, I think it's now part of the count of the unemployment that's happening. So that's the hardest part. What we've been doing really was, more than ever now was to be transparent with our teams. Our P&Ls now are, to this day, every day being a change. Okay, ito ang makuha nating benta. We only need 10 to 15% ang labor. Ilang tao lang ang afford natin. Literally ganun. And my teams look at their P&Ls and know that talagang pangkabuhayan lang talaga itong ginagawa namin. It's really just to keep everyone working, to keep relevant. But if it's about making money, that's no longer in the question. No longer in the question.
Mm-mm. I guess let's close this discussion talking about the bear season kasi we're talking about the future, no. I think we have at least a next season as we come out of the ghost month, this bear season. So maybe I wanted to get your thoughts. What do you think would work during the bear season? During this first lockdown, what we saw, because we monitor it on a media level. So ang napaka-popular are cakes. The drinks are yung mga alcoholic drinks all through the roof. Or yung mga merienda.
Lockdown is bubble tea.
Yun nga. Bubble tea din. But going into the bear season, what are you hopeful that I'm sure not a lot of people will still go out. Some will probably go out. But what's your projection for this bear season?
For us, I think people like us Filipinos, we will celebrate. We will celebrate whether small, whether maximum of 10 people, we will celebrate. So we prepare to have those packages. Again, delivery, optimizing our formats for delivery. currently our group is working into really improving all our packaging so that it will travel well. And again, because our signature products are important, we have to make sure that our signature products travel well as and not be eliminated from our menu. So we've invested a lot into the study of that. What we realize is that packages are always something that they like. So makikita nyo na parang for us, we've down from a la carte dining na parang family style. What we've done was 2 segments. Grab and go, which is again, sabi ko, is for those people na that just want to go inside the mall and grab something. Before hindi gumagana yan, grab and go. We tried that in several stores, but people want to dine in, want to sit down. Again, now different. They want something quick. They want something personal. And you'll see also the malls adapt to that by having dining areas in common area ng mall. Right? Kasi gusto nila, kukuha lang sila, ayaw nila pumasok dun sa mismong restaurant, kakain sila on the way out. You'll also see Mega Mall kumakain sila sa hagdan. But for celebratory, you'll see all of our brands have now packages that are good for 6 to 10 and 4 to 6.
Okay. So one of the hottest thing during the first lockdown was DIY kits, no? And I guess even now. But I haven't seen, did you guys do frozen or DIY kits? What do you think about them?
Currently, for me, the frozen kits are, if you notice, those are coming out from restaurant groups that have a commissary system. For us, foodie does not have a commissary system. Everything is done and produced fresh within the store. So we're proud of that. So it was a quick adaptation for us. For a commissary base, it was easy because you were producing it in the commissary, lagyan mo ng sticker, benta. We don't do that. So it was not something that was an easy pivot for us to create it in the commissary and start selling it. Next, the DIY kits, I think, is it's trendy, but I don't think it's a long-term type of thing. I think it was pivot that people made to make it understand. But you have to understand, when people order for food, they want it now. So I think what we decided to do, or what we're creating, is kind of DIY but ready to eat, not ready to cook. There's a different category for that, what we feel. So ready to eat is always something that we want with with little preparation. When I say little preparation, like the one we're creating now is self-heating, so just to sneak peek a little bit, but ours is dump everything, self-heat. Rather than having to turn on the pan. You have to understand, people that ask for delivery don't like that process. So that's the study also that we've been doing. We could have easily done DIY kits. We could have easily done, the other things. But we felt that stick to the core, and we feel that we're looking at something that long-term. We focus more on what we can do with our current menus.
Okay. What do you think? Fine dining is dead or not?
I hope not. But you will not be able to sustain a fine dining restaurant with those numbers and with those capacities. Definitely not.
Yeah. Medyo mahirap nga. But hindi ba...
If you want to do fine dining, actually kaya. Let's look at the futuristic side, or being positive.
Yeah, yun naman
If
pinag-usapan.
you design a restaurant na talagang with everything involved. I think during the beginning of the quarantine, may nakita tayo yung mga acrylic na nakatakip ng ganon for fine dining. So maybe, right, if you implement certain things like that, maybe, like I said, hindi siya pwede yung sa current setup ngayon. But if you create a specific restaurant design post-pandemic that answers the questions to how an operations could be, then it's possible.
Okay.
But again, new restaurant yun.
pero anong nangyari sa pricing sensitivity during this pandemic? What are the things you observed?
People pay for convenience. So I think it's common knowledge that if you order from the third-party providers, you're paying up to 20 to 25, maybe 30% more than how much you would be paying if you were eating in the restaurant. But with the numbers provided, especially for the CBD areas, it seems insignificant. But don't take that as a picture of the entire Philippines. Metro Manila acts very differently from every other region. If you go outside Metro Manila, no one delivers. There's a small third-party delivery providers in the provinces, but no one delivers. Because iba ang mentality of the people that are outside. Hindi sila kumakain sa labas para lang kumain sa labas. They go outside to be with family, and it's an occasion more than kain lang, right? So the mindset is very different. But for Metro Manila, I think okay yung deliveries natin.
Pero question, that's a good point that you brought that up, because there have been reports that outside Metro Manila are doing well versus Metro Manila, and the pandemic impact is really just Metro Manila. So I'm not sure what happened in the foodie group. I understand there are delivery, technology differences, but parang nangyari daw is the provinces are dealing with the crisis well, and they're able to go out and dine naturally. Pero
True.
tayo sa Metro Manila, we're having a problem. So maybe share your experience with the foodie group.
True. I think what we've been seeing is that back to normal sila ng mas mabilis. I don't know whether that's because they're more unaware or mas confident lang sila to go out. But the problem is, walang pera. So they're back to normal as far as gala.
Okay.
They're back to normal as far as going back to the malls and makikita mo laman na sila ng mall.
Uh-oh.
But the spending power is not there. There's no more money.
Oo. But so the money is still in Metro Manila.
If there is money.
If there is money.
But everyone nga is kasi I mean, our government has saying wala na talagang pera, and everyone's now feeling the crunch. Before nung dumating yung mga ayuda, they felt that it's free money. Actually, that's not free money. That's for you to sustain. Your bills are not coming in yet. Pag pumasok na yung bills, marirealize mo hindi enough yung ayuda na yun. And that cycle begins. And prior to this, they didn't know that they were going to lose their jobs. Next month, they start losing their jobs. And then unemployment, not being able to pay their loans, it's a vicious cycle. It's going back faster to normal in the provinces. We see that people are going out more, mas relax sila into that sense. But as far as making better sales, maybe for the lower ticket prices.
Okay. But not for the higher...
For casual dining and up, which is a little bit more on yung mga weekend thing na ginagawa nila, then that's a little bit different story.
Okay. I think, are you guys planning na for the December Christmas season? Paano ba mangyari sa Christmas season nga? I know that's one of your biggest sales, di ba? So ano bang, may mga ideas na kayo on how do you guys plan to do?
To be honest, kung anong gagawin sa Christmas, I'm lucky if I know what we're going to do next week. Because, talagang different I cannot grasp it enough or explain it enough na parang nakakapagod even more now than before. My dad always reminded me, during the good times, we worked hard, right? During the bad times, we work harder, right? And the thing is that you're not being rewarded for it. You're working harder with no rewards and just hope for the future. So December, we hope, but again, packaged meals, that's what we're seeing, delivered out to them directly. Bringing a feast to the house is something that we want to do. But again, dealing with us just kakataas lang ng just going to GCQ, that was announced Monday and we had to react by Tuesday because Wednesday is Ghost Month, was just ridiculous. I need to open 100 stores yesterday.
Oh nga, Ghost Month. When is Ghost Month? Today?
Yesterday. Today. Today. So I had to open all my restaurants yesterday. Yeah, and we even allowed partial reopening. Never in our lives. Kung nasa pre-COVID yan, gumugulong na ako sa sahig. Ang dami nang natanggal kung nag-partial opening ka. But now, new norm. It's now allowed. It's because the thing was announced midnight on Monday.
Oo nga.
Yung popcorn ko nga, medyo naging stale na sa kakaantay.
So, question. I know your dad is a seasoned restaurateur and ano na ano niya lahat ng mga crisis. How does he look at this crisis?
I've never seen my dad at this condition as far as uncertainty. It's really that. We've had to call for an emergency meeting just among our family, quick family members, just to decide, okay, what's happening and what are we willing to do? And during that meeting, sabi ko, if it's an unprecedented event, our thinking should also be unprecedented. Meaning, yung ginagawa natin is very much, takit butas or, firefighting. We need to really think outside, moving forward. My dad was saying na yung past crisis na nadaanan niya, puro mga financial crisis and whatever not. This is a world war. This is a world war without weapons, without, it's that feeling. We're all at home, di makalabas. World war nga, sabi ng lola ko, nakakalabas pa siya. Hindi nga ganito yung feeling. Right? So, it's different. And, so until today, 150 plus days, every morning, I still think na we're just dreaming. Kasi ang hirap talagang intindihin that this is now the reality.
Oo. I guess, sorry, ang dami kong tanong sa'yo.
Okay na. Kailangan ko rin na mag-vent. Dahil ko kailangan, like, oh my God.
Hindi. Sige, just to set the record straight, kasi there are a lot of restaurants closing, a lot of restaurants moving on. Can you share with us what, if you're closing any restaurant, or what are the ones fighting or continuing to operate?
So we are closing a few restaurants per brand. We're just optimizing that. Anything that is not making money, like I said, cut it. Cut your losses now or the whole boat sinks. So
Pero,
we already,
but the brand is still there.
We've already closed about 20 stores. We've already closed about 20 stores, a few from Mesa, a few from Pound. But we'll try. Kasi we actually until July ang inisip namin to regularize. But since nag-MECQ, we're having to do another month of trial and see how that goes from there. But definitely we'll have closures. So I think, dati nahihiya mag-announce ng closures. Now I think it's the more smart thing to do. Because if you don't close, that's just being arrogant that you're not being affected by anything when you know for a fact that you are.
And how do you handle mental health? I know this is a big issue in the restaurant industry now, no? From the chefs to the servers to everybody. How, as a group, how do you guys handle it?
I personally was crying in the toilet the other day. I was like, I don't know why, but it just started. I started tearing, and I guess everyone's feeling the same. It's just that we're so helpless. We're stuck at home. Our support group has really been, for me at least, has been my family. For the restaurant, it's been really open communication. So we never had a chat group amongst brand owners as far as our brands are concerned. Kasi parang they run that individually. But now we had it all together para we have an open communication. So my Tim Hoan head is speaking to my Pound head. They're exchanging information now more than ever. And that, I think, has led for us to, para alam ng mga tao ko na we're here, we're visible more than ever. I think that's more important now that my team sees me in front, my team sees me being vocal, my team sees me information trickling down from my words to the lowest person or to the lowest person in the group. Right? So that's very important for us. Again, transparency is key. Just so that, I always try to tell them we will save as much as we can. It was very heavy on me where we had to do pay cuts. Right? I prolonged that for the longest possible time, but it had to come to a point that I had to go like one by one, call them. Okay, Miss X and X, alam mo naman nangyayari. Well, you have to cut your salary in order to survive. The good thing about this is that I felt so loved because they were willing to take a pay cut for the group and really fight on. The problem is you're asking for a pay cut, but you're asking for a work increase. And sabi ko sa mga tao ko, I will never forget you in this time of pandemic.
I guess. Amen. That's good. Can we have a photo lang for our thumbnail? Okay. Smile, smile. Okay. One more. One more. All right. I guess siguro let's close this on a high note also. Any final thoughts then on how do you think this restaurant of the future, we're talking about restaurant of the future here, would survive first this birth season, and I'm sure 2021 will be it will have another restaurant boom
We
in the
hope.
future. We hope. But since we're here, how do you want to be remembered fighting this COVID crisis this 2020? And some final thoughts.
Again, I agree. We should end this on a high note. And it didn't need a pandemic to make us realize the certain things that we've been doing now. We should be thankful that we are with family, we are with loved ones in an unprecedented amount of time. Kung before you wanted to do family bonding, here's the bonding that you've been asking for. We will become stronger. We will be because of this. And I think that would be the positive thing that we need to look into. Yes, there are negative things, and it caught us off guard, and that's why it feels like that. But in reality, I always have to count every day what are the top 10 things that you got positive from this COVID. And maybe that helps you feel better. But again, I believe that we will dine again. Restaurants have been in existence ever since. I believe people will have the urge to dine out. Our job is to make it safe enough for them to not feel that fear. And I think, we will fight. We will keep our restaurants open. We will serve you deliciously safe food as always. And, again, survivors. That's what we will be.
All right. Thank you. Galing, galing. I think ano naman what I'm actually excited, there's actually a lot of innovation happening in the food industry. Ang dami nga, from the home to the cloud kitchen. The restaurants agreed needs to evolve kasi nga some of the other food na kukuk na sa bahay, but I don't think the restaurants would die kasi nga we love connection. We want social connection. We have friends na wants to go together. If there's a way lang nga to do it safely, some people do it, let's say, mga rooftop bars, na outdoor. Pero kasi ang lilit rin lang naman nun you really need a restaurant setting where you can really go na you can be safe, diba? Like, actually, I like the design that you presented. Pero yun lang executable ba, diba? I guess that's the point of the design, na if you can execute it, pricing wise, etc. And I think that's the type of innovation that's needed for the restaurant to thrive in this next restaurant boom, diba? All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. I will get in touch with the papayat setup.
Oo, kailangan actually the reason I went to it, there's this book called Biology. Sabi niya, tatlo ang impact ng pandemic. One, everybody will get fat because of the stress, people will just eat out. And that book was not saying during the first lockdown. They were saying until December kasi nga food is a way to distress. And then second, marriages will fall apart, a lot of divorce. I mean, in the US, it's happening. In the Philippines, hindi naman siguro, pero or medyo quiet. And then the last was mental health, kasi nga, no, and that's why I actually do this discussion, because it's very helpful to have this discussion, maybe share it with people, thinking about this also, and just to help them out. And then, just give a helping hand out if they want to reach out. Diba? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Salamat.
Maraming
salamat. Bye-bye.
Thank you.